let's announce that we've seen it within an hour and then make up this story. Like that people could think that the largest newspaper in the country would do that, or that any newspaper in this country for that matter would do that. It's such a wake-up call, I guess, that people really don't understand how newsrooms work, and like how seriously and we take our jobs and the great lengths that we go to be fair. And so part of the book, it's arranged, I guess, in two sections. The first part is sort of a political biography of Rob Ford and explaining the genesis of the Ford family and their ideas of themselves as a political dynasty.
And connections to things like white supremacy and people getting shot
drugs
in the face.
And guns, and and then the second half is when I guess, sort of become a character in it and start uncovering all of this stuff and really pull back the curtain on what happens in a newsroom.
Now, because so many people thought that this was some sort of media conspiracy, what does this say about the state of credibility for journalists today in Canada?
It shows we have a lot of work to do. I do deal with that in the book. This, I think it was in 1985, Pew Research, which is a think tank in Washington, started studying media, the people's trust in the media. And I think it was like 55% of the public believed things that they read or watched in the media. And today that number is around 25%. That's just a staggering amount, which means 3/4 of the population doesn't believe what's in the media. And what I found is trying to figure out, like, how did this happen? Like, where did we get to this point? And what you see is that as, especially the States, becomes more politically polarized, and this is a period when it's never been more polarized, people trust the media less. And so I guess you can kind of see that if you are very entrenched in your views, you are less likely to believe stories that don't fit with those views. I guess is kind of the assumption you can make from that. And it's not, I mean, the New York Times, which is the gold standard of print media in the world, I think, along with The Guardian, is one of the least trusted in the States. It's on par with Fox News, and that...
Because that's what the latte drinkers read.
Right, and it's just it's astonishing, and we have a lot of work to do to really explain to people the lengths that we go to when we report and how really, I think, like be honest, and I quote numerous people who are far smarter than me in the book talking about this idea that journalists need to go out of their way to say this is how we know what we know, this is what we don't know, this is what we did to learn this information, this is why we printed this. And that will help kind of spark this dialogue going forward.
Yeah, and it's interesting you point to the American climate, because you do make some allusions in the book and on your Daily Show interview to perhaps Canada moving towards a more polarized media environment. We're seeing Sun News already with its fairly insane conspiratorial right-wing stories. Are you worried about us moving towards an even more polarized media climate?
I think that I'm stealing this again from a person in the book who says this, that in many ways the States shows Canada its future. Canadians are not as polarized as Americans, especially in terms of party loyalty. We are kind of all over the place, but we do, because we watch so much American TV and read so much American news and American influence in terms of what we read and go to see at the movie theater, we kind of do fall into those ideas, and I do think you see it with our media right now, especially with talk radio.
You're very critical of talk radio in the book.
Yeah, and like I think there's a place for talk radio. It's my issue, and it's not to blame talk radio per se, because I do see the dilemma. If you're having a conversation with someone and someone says something that's not true, you don't necessarily have the
You can't
benefit.
Interact with the media. Right,
you can't like Google, is that correct? Even having to do these interviews, I'm a print reporter. I'm used to being able to kind of check my facts, to double check and not have to couch everything in like abouts, I think.
Alleged.
Well, I still will couch things as alleged, but and with talk radio, it's not, the medium's not conducive to that. So I think that with what we've seen with the Fords, especially with quote unquote Ford Nation calling in and repeating so many of these lies that the Fords say, when you say it over and over and over again, it sort of becomes true. And with Sun News, I don't so much take issue at all with their daily news coverage, like during the day, but some of their pundits, yeah, they seem to very much be modeling the American style, which is conflict-based and us versus them, and yeah, just staking out this position that's seems rooted in anger, I guess is the best way to say it. Like this is the enemy and this is why.
Yeah.
As opposed to a discussion about something and thoughtful debate.
And just going back to that initial report that you put out about the crack video, I mean, personally, you put your credibility on the line in a pretty serious way, and you were receiving death threats, you mentioned in your book. I mean, what is that like to deal with? And you know that you've seen the city's mayor smoking what appears to be crack, and people don't believe you to the point of wanting to threaten you.
Right. Yeah, both Kevin Donovan and I got death threats and got some in the newsroom. Yeah, people always ask me, like, oh, were you nervous? Like, your credibility is on the line. It didn't, and I guess this is a testament to the Toronto Star and how well they back us. It never occurred to me that my credibility was on the line, I guess, in some ways. It was
you
kind
knew
of,
what you saw.
Yeah, I knew it was right, and I knew it was true, and I knew that, while people, even when I realized the public didn't believe us, when you sit down and actually have a conversation with someone and say, like, because I would encounter people. One night I was out at a bar with some friends, and I heard a table beside us talking about how they didn't believe the story, and I was like, I'll be right back. Yeah. So I went up and I sat down, and I didn't say who I was or anything. I was like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to eavesdrop, but like, what is it about it that you don't believe? And they sort of caught on, like, that, who I was. And when you actually talk it through people, like, so do you actually think that because Gawker printed this story first, you think that we pretended to see what Gawker had seen? And then when you kind of piece it together, like, there's this photo of the mayor with this guy who was recently killed in a shooting. The police think these two people are members of the Dixon City Bloods. This house in the background, the neighbors say is a crack house. Police documents say it's a crack house. He's hanging out with this guy, Sandro Lisi, who's about to be charged with drug offenses and who has a criminal
extortion.
And extortion. Like, the facts, I think, were always there. Like, I wasn't worried about, like, being sued or anything like that. Like, I knew.
Well, even now, I find there's sort of a problem with media literacy in the story, because now that he's come out and admitted he's smoked crack, the narrative is, well, that's his personal problem. Everyone experiments with drugs, and they're sort of ignoring this whole criminal side of things.
I don't think that the media is anymore. I think that.
I wouldn't say the media is,
but regular people, sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, for sure. And that's, I think, something that I tried to do in the book is underscore the seriousness of the situation. It's not, you kind of get caught up in the circus of it all. Oh, he's miming drunk driving. Look at these funny viral videos of him dancing or something. And it's like...
He's a good dancer.
I would disagree.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. No, he looks like he's having fun. So that's the important thing.
But you're right, it's all these sort of nonsensical distractions.
Yeah, and it's these silly things,
about...
and it's like, oh, he's just a guy. It's like, no, this guy helps appoint people to the police oversight board. He's the CEO of 50,000 people. Like, he still is. That power was not stripped of him. He's the CEO of Toronto right now. He is still the mayor. He helps decide the budget. He is the figurehead in this city. And he has ties to an illegal street gang that's allegedly involved in all these shootings and trying to smuggle guns into the city. He's opened himself up to blackmail. He's still hanging out with Sandro Lisi, who has been charged with extortion. He still is appearing out on the town 3 times in the last few weeks, looking...
intoxicated.
Out of it, at least intoxicated.
Yeah,
I mean, I think you can all look at those videos and make your own judgment, like whether you think he's drunk or not. But this is still an ongoing problem. He doesn't seem to be changing, and there's a real seriousness to this story.
It almost seems like there's too much coming, like there's too much bandwidth of craziness for people to really take the time to, like, parse out the seriousness of the situation. And it almost makes me wonder if some of these, incidents are strategically planned. Like, I feel like it's giving him too much credit, but when he came out and made that comment, I've got more than enough to eat at home.
Right.
Like, that just seems so obviously crazy that it's hard to believe that there's not some sort of intention.
Well, in the book, I do try to lay out the fact that people think Rob Ford is dumb, and Rob Ford is not dumb. he's not getting into Harvard anytime soon. Fine, I'm not getting into Harvard anytime soon either, I'm sure. But he is a political genius, I think. I think he knows exactly how to play the public, how to play the media. He knows his strengths and he knows his weaknesses. So,
Zach Kreger.
Yeah.
Trevor
Moore.
Yeah.
Hey.
How you doing?
Good. I haven't seen you in like
8 years since senior year at Brown.
Right.
Yeah. It's good to see you. Look at you. You look great.
Thank you.
What do you got there?
This is a gallon of PCP.
Wow. A gallon.
Yes. Yeah.
That's illegal, right?
Yeah, it's a felony.
It's a felony.
Yes.
Wow. And here you are with it anyway. That is, wow. I didn't even know it came in liquid form.
Science.
Whoa. So, do you do a lot of PCP?
Got a gallon.
I guess you do.
Yeah.
Wow. So, what do you do?
I work in an investment firm downtown. It's mostly like property acquisitions.
Huh. That sounds successful.
What do you do?
I work at the Binko's.
I don't know what Binko's is.
It's an office supply store type thing.
Secretary stuff?
But a gallon.
Yeah.
Here you are with a gallon. Wow. Man, do you still see Candace?
No. She passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. How long ago did that happen?
About 4.
About 4 years ago?
No, PM.
4 p.m. As in today, 4 p.m. It's 5 o'clock now.
Yeah.
So that was recent. What happened?
I was at my dealer's house.
Uh-huh.
I was buying the PCP.
Of course.
And I didn't have enough money for all of the gallon.
Oh, it's expensive.
But I wanted the whole gallon.
Of course.
So I'd set up a deal where I would leave her as collateral.
Uh-oh.
And I would go hit an ATM and come right back.
I see problems.
But, when I left, I got distracted and he cut her head off.
Whoa! Wow. And that happened today, just a little while ago. Man, are you okay? Are you doing all right?
No, yeah, I'm good. I'm pretty high right now. So.
Oh, right, because of the PCP, which you have.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Man, I ran into Bill the other day, and he's doing really good.
I don't know Bill.
You don't? That's right. No, you wouldn't know Bill. But he's doing good.
That's good.
Yeah, it's good to see. Good for Bill.
Well, it was good to see you, Trevor.
It's nice seeing you.
I gotta go. I gotta pick my kids up. I'm running late.
Oh, you have kids. You are on your way to pick up children with your gallon thing.
I don't want them to lose their heads.
Oh, you left them with the guy, the PCP guy.
No, they're at soccer practice. I'm late. They spaz.
Oh, it was a joke. I get it. Well,
good to see you.
Nice seeing you.
Okay.
I'll tell Bill you said hi.
I don't know him.
Oh, that's right. You don't. See you later.
You're listening to the AMB Network, Alternative Media Broadcast Network.
My name is Walter White, and I'm a meth cook. And for 10 years, I had the best meth in Alabama. And if you wanted the best meth, you had to come this way. You had to come to me.
10 years before Breaking Bad premiered in 2008, Walter White of Bessemer, Alabama, was already building a meth empire, and the drug was becoming an epidemic nationwide.
The primary ingredient that is used to make methamphetamine is pseudoephedrine.
But in 2004, federal restrictions caused incidence of meth to decrease significantly.
A new law regulating pseudoephedrine products will go into effect on July 1st. The law will require users to visit a physician and obtain a prescription for drugs containing pseudoephedrine.
From 2007 to 2011, meth incidence rose again, doubling nationwide due to a surge in new methods like shake and bake, especially in small towns like Bessemer, Alabama, where when industry declined, drug use skyrocketed.
Now, I've seen them where they would set up in hotel rooms and they would have these little portable labs in their vehicles, and they have become more mobile from what I've seen.
2 meth busts in Tuscaloosa County have resulted in 5 arrests. Sheriff Ted Sexton says meth labs are a growing problem in Tuscaloosa County because they are easy to hide.